So first thing first, you guys are a group of basketball players, right? So this talk was very interesting when Deepthi asked me to do this. It has been on my mind for some time. You know, we are professionals, athletes, and how is manifestation important in our lives? What is manifestation for that matter? And is there any evidence for manifestation? We talk about the mind, but can we actually feel or see the mind? Can we use the mind for being better? So if any one of you is out there, and my daughters are also out here, my wife is also out here, I wanted to ask you, what do you think the mind is? What is the mind? Anybody? We're not talking about consciousness. What is your mind? Mind is a place where you can manifest everything what you want to. Yes, excellent. But what generates the mind? I mean, is it your brain that generates the mind? Everybody can be on unmute. Tanvi, there is no need for anybody. This is an interactive session.
Yes.
What do you think the mind is, girls?
Mind could be like something that all of the universe is connected.
The mind is, you think the mind is your creation?
Not really.
My mind is my creation, isn't it? Yes. I use a hardware.
Thoughts per se, but mind, I don't think so. I don't know.
Right. So you think the mind is separate from the thoughts. Interesting. So now I can bring in neurosciences, quantum physics, and Vedanta into it. So, you know, mind in Sanskrit is called chitta. Okay. Intelligence is called buddhi. So chitta and buddhi are different. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the point that I wanted to ask you is, supposing I say that your future, your team's future, your abilities, even your physical looks are because you think in a particular way. That is a very, you know, I would say that's a very controversial statement to make. I mean, people will say, how can my looks be affected by my mind? I look like this way. So, I mean, if I say that your ability, that your ability to basket, or your ability to do surgery, or your ability to be happy is because your mind is in a particular way. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
You will. So, Vishal, you are a player, or
I'm coach of the team, sir.
you're coach of the team. So, right. So, Vishal, you probably understand that better because you probably had a playing career, and you would
Yes, sir.
understand that, for example, if you want to say, I mean, in your case, you want to basket, and if in your mind you have already seen that happening, and then your hand is just an instrument.
Yes.
But in your mind, if you haven't seen that basketing, then your hand cannot be an instrument to do that. So every shot that you make, you have already seen it a millisecond before that the ball is going in. And if you are not sure, it will not go in.
Yes.
It is exactly the same way like life is. If you have enough clarity. If things manifest in your mind way before it manifests in your physical realm. For example, if you want six packs, you can have six packs, but you should be able to clearly visualize your six packs. You want your off roading car, you want billions in money, you want, every single thing in the universe, you can have that. It's just about manifesting it, having the clarity for manifestation. This is why I said the mind is not confined to one brain. You are able to access certain parts of the mind, but it encompasses the entire universe. That knowledge is there. Whatever I know, you already know. It's just that you're not accessing it. I'm telling you in a language that is easier for you to understand, but that knowledge is already there. It is just that what you are coaching, the players already know. It is just that you are able to access it, they are not. It may be experience, it may be your mindset, it may be how open you are or how closed you are. Okay.
Okay.
So what is manifestation? So have you heard? As your state of mind is, so becomes your world. So people who are generally insecure, unkind, greedy, if you see, after a few years, their world becomes that. They get into a world where they they see a lot of greed, they see a lot of unkindness, and they'll be fighting amongst a lot of other people because being unkind and being greedy and being street smart is easier. On the other hand, if your mind is something that learns to embrace unhappiness, embrace discomfort, be kind, then your world also becomes that way. Whether that is in any branch, absolutely any branch, whatever you're doing, you may be doing sports, you may be in surgery, you may be in business. Remember, as your state of mind is, so becomes your world. The second thing you have to understand is consciousness is not in the world. So you always think, I cannot access this. I do not have access to this. It's a third world mentality. Third world mentality is when people think, oh, I don't have access to this. I don't have access to that. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. The point that you have to understand is third world is a mentality. It is not a real physical thing. It is a mentality. If you are unkind, say for example, if you go to Japan, have you been to Japan? Anyone?
No.
You go to Japan, you will see even the poorest places, the kind of order they have, the kind of, it is a trained way. It is not that their minds and our minds are different, but they are open to a possibility where you could be kind, you could follow order instead of chaos. For example, if you go into a flight in India, you've seen a flight. The moment the flight lands, everybody gets up and everybody is rushing. Haven't you seen that?
Yes.
Yes.
Nobody cares about who is in the in the front seats. Okay, everybody wants to rush to the door. That's because we have not been exposed to that kind of a world where it is much more easier that the first row stands up and they go out, then the second row stands up. If somebody is having a problem, we wait for them. Somebody is on a wheelchair, we wait for them. We think it's a waste of time. Okay. So that is that is the first world mentality. It is not because you live in Japan or you live in India. It is a first world mentality. So if somebody tells you come for practice at 6 a.m., if you are the type who will come at 6:05, that is third world mentality. In Japan, if they ask you to come at 6, you would be ready by 5:45 and you'd be there. It's not because that much time matters. Actually, if you look at it, 6:05 and 5:45 is just 20 minutes apart. But there's a whole world of difference in that. 6:05 meaning you're late. 5:45 meaning you're going to be in time. Whatever people say, oh, I had traffic and that's why I couldn't make it. Or, you know, I slept off or I had some other thing. But, in Japan, if you see, train timings are 6:02, 6:03, or 6:05. I mean, when I first went there, it was a joke because here in India, if somebody says 6:05 for a train time, it it would. But I mean, what do you think? If even today, I guess things have changed a lot. But during those times when, about 20 years back, 6:05 means if the train comes within 5 hours, you're lucky. The problem is these are big things. Train timings are big things. That's because the driver probably did not start early. The guard, the people who has to come, everybody together, that world becomes third world. On the other hand, put everybody together in a different way, it becomes the first world. So that's what, as your state of mind is, so becomes your world. We talk about politicians, that they are dirty, they are ugly, and they are doing that. But you take anybody in India, you take most people in India, and people say that we get the politicians we deserve. I have been in Nepal for a long time, and I can clearly say that, we get the politicians we deserve. We cannot blame our countries or our teams' non-performance on others. It's because we not manifesting in the right way. You guys getting the drift of things?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a few things. What do you know about the physical realm? What do you think, Vishal and Tanvi? What do you think about the physical realm? I mean, I know it's it's something that's not very relevant, but it will become very relevant in the talk later on. What do you think is a physical realm? What is controlling you? Do you think you are controlled by outside things, that your country, your fitness, your genetics? That's what controls you?
To
You
a,
can say that.
to a certain extent,
Later.
yeah.
So you think that you can never be the strongest person in the world, isn't it?
Uh, no, but that will obviously influence the person we become, right?
Right. Do you know about a guy called Vispi Kharadi? He's a 5'10" Gujarati fellow. Do you know who he is?
No, sir.
No, sir.
He is the strongest man in the world. Please check out, okay, on Google. The strongest man in the world. He put together, there was this challenge where you have to take this over 150 kg pillars and hold it for some time.
Wow.
He 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 did this, and the strongest man in the world is a 5'10" Indian guy from Surat.
Okay.
Can you believe it? Do you know why it happened? There are guys who are 7 feet tall, who weigh 200 to 220 kg, who are full of muscles. Those guys couldn't do it. Why did he do it? It's because he manifested what others could not. Okay. So if you still think that, you cannot do certain things, think again. You think we are not tall, we cannot, we cannot play basketball like the US guys or other teams do. That's because your mind already has a lock. Okay? You are being Nara. Nara is your physical realms are within the space time. All the rules of physicality has to be followed. Okay? So you have limits. You're not limitless. You have limits. Okay? And these limits keep on increasing because you embrace your comfort zone and therefore you think this can only be done this way. And then your past and your future also embraces because you think in the past, none of the guys were able to do, therefore I cannot do. Do you know Dhyan Chand? Have you heard about Dhyan Chand,
Yes, sir. Hockey player. First,
the hockey player?
Yes, sir.
Dhyan Chand, you think Dhyan Chand was physically imposing?
no, sir. He was a small guy.
He was a very, very small guy. Okay. Dhyan Chand is still regarded in many places as the best, as absolutely the best hockey player in the world. Like Pele is regarded as the best football player in the world. Dhyan Chand is still regarded as absolutely the very best. What he could
There is
do.
an award on his name, sir, now. For
Yes.
the extraordinary sportsman, they're giving award to them
Yes,
on his
absolutely.
name.
And do you know who is the singer who had the maximum ranges of voice? The maximum ranges, for example, 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves. You know who is the singer who had the maximum octaves of voice? Do you know?
No, sir.
Do you know who was the lead singer of Queen? Freddie Mercury. And you know Freddie Mercury was from which place? He was from Gujarat. He's a Gujarati chap. Changed his name to Freddie Mercury. If you go to Lausanne, Switzerland, you have a statue of Freddie Mercury there. Somebody told me this guy is from India. He still has the highest number of octaves. He could go from, being having the most bass voice to the most, the high voice. What do you call it? Highest pitch of the voice. Okay. How did he do that? How did Freddie Mercury do that? Manifestation. Okay. We can call it passion, we can call it manifestation, but what passion gives you is it gives you madness. And when you have madness, you manifest way more than the normal people who are in a cage. So normally you are naras, and naras are in a cage of your mind. So you can say that I cannot do this, I cannot do that. But if I ask you, can you do that? Can you do 300 push-ups, anybody? Anybody in your team?
At a stretch.
No, sir.
At a stretch, how many push-ups can you do? Max?
50.
50? That's it? Huh?
Sir, 30.
How much? How much can the team do? The best in the team. What is your best guy? Who is the best guy in the team? Vishal, who is your
Sorry.
fittest
I think
guy in the team?
I think many of them can do 50, sir, in 1 minute.
50 in 1 minute?
Yes, sir.
See, I'm 50 years old and I'm a professor of neurosurgery. I'm not playing or anything. How many do you think I can do?
I think because you know the art of manifestation, you might be doing more, sir.
But tell me, how much do you think I should manifest into?
Sir, 40.
Huh?
100, sir.
Sir,
100?
40 to 50.
Yes, 100, maybe 100, sir.
100? Okay,
Yes.
Vishal. So let's check it out. Can you see on my video? So let's do this. All right. So that's how the team. So you keep a timer for me.
Yes.
Can you see me?
Yes, sir. I don't
All right.
know.
Can you keep the timer for me, girls? Let's see. I don't know. I mean, I usually do 50, but you tell me 100, we'll manifest that. Let's see. Okay. Can you keep a timer for me,
But we
guys?
should know how many you do normally, sir.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just doing it. I generally do 50. I mean, 50 is the limit, but I think I can go. But I'm just telling you, this is an example of going beyond what you can do. All right, going beyond. I mean, this is an example of madness. Somebody tells you 100. Somebody told me 100. Timer ready? Okay, I'm not going to do the full push-ups as you. Okay, ready? Okay, go.
Last nose.
15. How many seconds left? Okay. Hundred and five. Okay. All right. Somebody said 100. Vishal,
Sir.
let me catch my breath. So you see, learn to manifest, and to manifest, huh? Let me catch my breath. So what do you guys think? What is manifestation? How do you manifest? What is madness, and how do you use madness to get into manifestation? What do you guys think? Vishal?
I think you can manifest for those things which you think that is very important for you at this moment. And if you really want it badly, then you definitely will manifest about that.
It's not about want. It's about being confident. And to be confident that something usually impossible to you is possible, what do you think you should do? You should have the state of madness. Okay. For example, you look at these players, Michael Jordan, or do you remember the guy who could really fly? Who could fly and basket? He was defying all the laws of physics. Who's that guy?
Jordan?
Vishal, you're the coach. I mean, there was this guy in the 90s who could really, I mean, he was physically not very imposing, but
Michael Jordan, sir.
Michael Jordan, the Nike had a big contract with him, right?
Yes, sir.
See, how do you think he manifested things that nobody else was doing in basketball at that time. You have to have that level of madness. And that level of madness, when you have, you go into, you go into something where you're no longer bound by the Nara rule. You are not Nara. What you become? You can either become Deva or Rakshasa. You could become both. Both are not in the Nara realm. But if you say Rakshasa is bad, that is wrong. Rakshasa accesses more of tamas. Deva accesses more of rajas or sattvic principles. But both are doing the same thing. They are accessed. They have used the madness. What is madness? Madness is believing that something can be done when nobody understands, nobody believes that way. A mad person, if you ask him, can you jump from the first floor of the house? I mean, if somebody is jumping from the first floor of the house, you will say that person is mad, right?
Yes.
That is parkour, isn't it? Have you seen the people in parkour doing this parkour or parkour? I don't know what it is, but have you
Parkour.
seen, huh?
Parkour, sir, that is.
Parkour, okay. Have you seen those guys doing completely crazy stunts?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that, I mean, when we are sitting in our armchairs, don't you think it's madness?
Yes, sir.
That's the madness you can access to, if you have to become what you want, you cannot be sitting in your armchairs. You have to get into madness. And that madness, children have that madness. You really don't have that madness because you become bound. You become bound by walls. Okay? So, the general universe for people is a universe that keeps whispering. You may dream boundlessly, but you must live within the edges of my equations. That is what keeps you as Nara. It is not your mistake. It's because the universe keeps whispering to you that you may live, you may dream boundlessly, but you must live within the edges of my equations. But the same universe equations are different for different people. It's different for Michael Jordan. It's different for your player who doesn't manifest himself. The universe equations are different. What Michael Jordan's physics is, or the equations are, is not your equations. And that is why sometimes you're not as good as he is. But if you can change those equations, you can push the edges of those equations by using madness, then of course you can go beyond. Okay? This is something that you have to understand. If you ask me what is manifestation, you have a dream and then you get to that dream. And not like in 5 years or 10 years, but you have to chart out that course and you have to get there. We'll not talk about Shiva. This is one of my very important and very interesting. So how can you transcend? First thing first, learn to be foolish. Embrace discomfort, embrace kindness. Okay? This is something that a lot of people have talked about, but nobody does. Everybody is street smart. Everybody looks at what do I get? If I do this, what do I get? Okay? Nobody wants to embrace discomfort. If there is a seat and there is a long trip and there's an old man in the compartment, you'd think, no, it'll be difficult for me to stand. So let him stand. Okay? You don't embrace discomfort. If I have to do, let's say, if I have to train at 3 a.m., I'd say, no, not 3 a.m. That's discomfort. So be foolish, embrace discomfort, embrace kindness. So then the universe that is around you will start changing. It'll start changing slowly. I mean, learn to spend time alone and away from every senses. So, which means every day. I mean, now your senses are your phones, isn't it? Earlier, senses used to be many different things, but nowadays the smartphone is, it's an addiction. So, at least 1 to 2 hours, learn to spend time alone. Learn to introspect. Learn to be away from every senses to the universe. Okay? Learn to control the emotions.
Manifestation class.
Beg your pardon? Learn to control the emotions. See, most of the time, if you don't get what you want, you get very angry, you get frustrated, and if you learn to control emotions, if you understand that some days you don't get what you want, then your anger and your frustrations can slowly come down. And you know what? When you control your emotions, the elements around you will start changing too. People around you will start changing. You will say that, oh, everybody is so unkind, everybody is so bad to me. So you have to look at yourself. Okay? Anybody says everybody is bad, everybody is, unkind to me, nobody respects me, then that means you have to look at yourself. So learn to control the emotions and then the elements around you will change. Second, understand that your reality is you. What you are is what you will be, which means if you are royal, if you are strong, if you can be strong and if you can be royal, even when it is not there, you will manifest into that. Okay, so start behaving like a billionaire or start behaving like Michael Jordan that you are. I mean, just not the swag, but if you start in your mind, you start behaving like, the best basketball player on earth or the best billionaire on earth. Slowly, you will start manifesting that. Of course, there should be a course of work towards that as well. You start manifesting the same thing. Okay. What stops you from doing that? Karma. What is karma? It is all the failures, all the insults, all that you had in your life, putting a stop on you. If you tell a child that you can be, if you ask a child, what do you want to become? They'll say, I want to become the prime minister, isn't it? Because that's the biggest thing that they can think of. But if I ask you, will you say that you'll want to become the prime minister? Not because you cannot. Anybody can become the prime minister if they work into that. But you close off those possibilities because you had so much failure, so much insults, anger, threats, and insecurities, isn't it? So how do you dispose of those karma every day? There is this Simhasana and Garjana. This is something in yoga. Maybe Deepti can talk to you about it. One thing is tears, either through laughter and sadness. Okay? This is your karma every day that has built over and over years and makes you very dirty from inside and also makes you very weak from inside and completely changes your mindset. Okay, this you have to dispose it off. You have to vent it out. People used to go and shout in front of cliffs, all venting out karma, all those things that's stopping you. You know, it may be 100,000 different things, your failures, your insecurities. Shout it out. Okay. You know, go to some place where nobody is there. Don't disturb people and shout it out. Do simhasana, garjana, cry, learn to cry. Crying is not sometimes, you know, people perceive kindness is, I mean, tears is weakness. It's not. It is sometimes, you know, strength. So these are the ways to dispose of karma and then access what people call madness, but that is a different state, and then start manifesting. Okay, so keep doing things and believe you can do anything by charting the course in your mind. Okay, now these were the things that I wanted to manifest. I wanted to make an exoscope. This was something I started 10 years back. Today, Asia's first exoscope is named after my daughter. I wanted to have the packs. I got it. I wanted to do some off-roading. I wanted to go to the mountains. When I started Sisternosmy, I wanted it to be a textbook. I got it done. Okay. So I mean, if I can do that, there's no question that you can do it too. It is just that you have to manifest. Okay. Thank you very much for the time that you have
Thank you, sir.
given. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me.
No, no, no.
Team, do you have any questions? Do you want to talk to Sir? Lokesh, Duran, Nipun?
Who's your captain?
Not yet decided, sir. I would like to have a question, sir.
Uh,
So,
huh?
I what I think, like when I used to play, one of my coaches told me to write your goals.
Yeah.
So I normally tell to my students that you write your goals down, and every day morning when you start visualizing it, and ask yourself a question. My coach used to tell me, ask yourself a question that whether you are doing enough for it.
Mm.
Are you doing enough for it? So, do you think writing down your goals might help?
Yeah.
Might
So,
help, sir.
you know, I'll tell you, Vishal,
Because I
write
have
down your
achieved all my
goals.
goals in whatever I have written,
Yeah. So write
and
down your goals
every
is
time these goals are
something.
completed, I write new goals on my
Yeah.
goals list.
Right. Right. No, but always write down your goals as something that is impossible for you at this moment.
Yes, sir.
So at this moment, that goal should be completely impossible for you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You must think that it is absolutely impossible for me now. So for example, 100 push-ups in 1 minute. I'll write it down. Now that it's possible for me, I'll write 200 push-ups in 1 minute. Okay. I'll see how much can I push. So 200 push-ups, that means I don't know who is absolutely the best in 1 minute, what is absolutely the best in 1 minute, but I'll write 200 push-ups. Okay. If it's surgery, I'll say, let people are doing it at, let us say 50 Zoom, I'll do it at 200 Zoom.
Okay.
So that goal should be something that is completely impossible. And to do that, to have that goal, you should have madness. So get into that state of madness. And how do you get into that state of madness? Learn to be foolish, learn to be hungry, learn to be kind. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
goals meaning you should not write goals that is possible for you. You
Yes.
should write
No,
goals
but
which are
that
impossible.
but when I wrote, I was like just 19 years old, and I wrote some of them which were impossible at that time. Thinking like
Yeah, absolutely.
making it big in basketball, getting a job, and looking after my parents. Were some of them which I thought buying a car, which was expensive and which I could not afford that time. So
Yeah.
all these things matter after down the line after 20 years. If I think that I have achieved all these things, but the list goes on. The list goes on like you're always hungry for the something else. So when you have achieved something, the new goals start. Like you want your kids to play, you want your academy to grow. So that those
Yeah.
things always have that. So do you think that manifesting something which is not achievable might help my this thing, my profile?
Vishal, I'm telling you today, you you think about whatever you cannot even dream of achieving today. Okay? What
Okay,
is
sir.
your biggest dream? You think about it, write it down. And then to access it, you have to get into a level of madness, absolute madness. Don't think about anything. Don't think about people. Don't think about your limits. Don't think about absolutely anything. Just get into that level of madness and start manifesting it. And you told about all these things that you wanted. You could manifest that, but I tell you, you are limitless. Anybody amongst you is limitless. And if you want, you have to have that level of madness to achieve it. If you cannot, if you cannot get at 2 a.m. in the morning and practice each steps of a surgery that you are going to do, then I mean that is madness. You think that you have to be well slept for a surgery. But imagine you're going to do a 36-hour surgery, you get up at 2 a.m. and go through each steps of it. That is madness. Okay. And then you don't think that you'll be tired for the surgery, actual surgery. That is madness. That is accessing the madness. Okay. And using it.
Yes.
That is that is how you manifest.
Yeah, the day when I wrote that, I was in hostel, so all my friends used to tell, "Arey, you're mad, Ray. How can you achieve all this without getting a job and all this?" But down the line, after 25 years, if I think that what I have done is right, what my coach has told me was absolutely right.
Yes, absolutely. So now again you start thinking that your team should be the best in the world, not best in India, not best in Hyderabad. Those are all limits. So your team, if you say that you can be the best in the world, and if you can get your boys to dream that you guys can be absolutely the best in the world without, people, when you say that I can be the best surgeon in the world, people laugh at it. And
Yeah.
you learn to laugh at yourself. That is the saddest part. The saddest part is when you say that you want to be the best in the world and you start laughing at yourself because you don't believe in yourself. Okay. This is the saddest part. And because of other people, you stop believing in yourself. And this is what schools do to children. Schools do to children. When a child says that this is possible, people will say, haha, no. Because uh, 100 non-achievers who has limits can change an achiever who dreams. Okay. If you
Yes.
don't allow it to happen, then you can be the absolutely the best.
Yes.
Okay, then, guys, thank you very much. God
Thank you.
bless. All
Thank
right.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Right then.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.